This is Stan J. Caterbone and Advanced Media Group. It's now 11:33 p.m. on Thursday, December 30th, 2021. I'm at my home office at 1250 Fremont Street, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, 17603. I'm going to give an update to the state of affairs since I followed so many things in the past weeks. Since Christmas Eve, I've been working just about nonstop to get these things filed. Now, again, tonight I woke up heavily drugged in a drug stupor with so much pain in my head. I mean, the pain was excruciating with nightmares again. Now, this has been ongoing every day. Sometimes it's during the day, sometimes it's at night. Drugged like you cannot believe. What kind of drugs they're using, I don't know. Dr. John Hall, in his book, Satellite Terrorism in America, says they're using those date rape drugs, but I don't know what kind of drugs they're using. Anyway, this has been going on every day for the past couple of weeks. And they'll gas me at the same time when I wake up. So I have to vent. And what I do to come out of the drug stupors is I take energy drinks and a shower. So sometimes I can just take half a bottle of energy drink and wait a little bit, I'll come out of it. But the pain was excruciating tonight. I never felt so much pain in my freaking head. Now, this afternoon, I was printing my new motion for the Nicholas Cruz case. I have a motion going down to Judge Scheer to update all of my motions with the new updated information regarding China and the mind control weapons that's been in the news the past week. And things like that. And again, the printer I just bought 3 weeks ago was hacked. So I had to stop printing. What they do is they say that the printer doesn't recognize one of the cartridges. Now, the ironic thing is that the last page I printed before this started was a page that was about Freemasonry. It was a picture, just one picture about Freemasonry. And they hit it on that exact picture. So again, I'm stuck without printing. Now, I printed about 100 pages of this motion to Judge Scheer. Now, yesterday, the clerk of courts down there, Broward County, sent me a link to file electronically, but I can't activate my account. Everything works, but I couldn't activate my account. Then I activated the account and none of the case numbers worked. So I have another 80 pages to print, which I'll have to do at Staples. Now, yesterday, Judge Scheer on the 29th wrote an order. She's delaying the start of the sentencing hearing to February 21st. And this sentencing hearing, they have the death penalty on the case. So I didn't know this, but the death penalty has to be unanimous. 12 jurors have to say yes. All 12 have to say yes. But Judge Scheer has the ultimate decision, which I didn't know. So anyway, I'll finish that up after the 5th. On January 5th, I have my next meeting with Ken Ruffner of Community Service for counseling, unless the judge dismisses all the cases before. And there's plenty before the judges to do that. So we'll have to see on that. The other problem is they've been gassing me heavily in upstairs, downstairs, no matter where I'm at. So what happens when I do that is I got to vent, open up the windows. I mean, some nights they gas me so hard I can't breathe. I've got to open up the windows in order just to breathe. Now I have oxygen for that, and I have an inhaler, and that's getting to be a problem. It seems like over the holidays, since Thanksgiving, they've escalated all the forms of torture that they could. So the gassing is still going on. That's been going on for a while. Back in Stone Hill Road in Conestoga, they were using chloroform, and it'd make me dizzy. They were doing that constantly in Conestoga. Now, the other problem is the stalking with neighbors is being escalated at the same time. 1252, 1256, the tow truck driver across the street, 1242 is bad. Every time I walk outside, the stalking and the harassment is just incredible. And the threats, especially from 1252 and 1256. These guys, whoever they are, most of them are blacks and Spanish. Some of them are from prison. I recognize some of them. That's being escalated at the same time. Now, another topic that I need to discuss is the telepathic sex. Let me explain something. There's a document out called Neural Dildo for Disabled People. It's actually was written in a journal regarding sex done remotely with a device. Now they're doing it to me without a device. Now back in Stonehill Road, when I first became telepathic, when they first started hitting me with the microwaves, the Havana syndrome, which has been in the news lately a lot, they were raping me remotely. Then it started telepathic sex with one or two people. Now the girl that claims I'm telepathic was Sheryl Crow, and another girl, Jennifer Aniston. That was going on for years, just us three. Now, Jennifer Aniston was on and off, Sheryl Crow was a lot. Then in 2012, when I moved upstairs into the bedroom from the sofa, which I had to stay on for 5 years because of my back, it started with other people. Now today, it's all over. There are so many people that have telepathic sex with, that's unbelievable. Now they isolate me from women, and that's how they get away with it. And they're using celebrities, they're using people in the White House, from president and from different administrations. They're using, people from Fox, WJAL to have this telepathic sex. Now, when I have telepathic sex, I'm not telepathic with the people. I'm not telepathic with any of the people. What happens is I'll say there's like an interpreter that will tell me who it is. Sometimes the telepathic sex only lasts a minute or two. Sometimes it'll last 10 minutes. The sessions may last an hour and a half. Now, of course, all the women are good looking. If they weren't good looking, I wouldn't be attracted to them, and it'd be impossible to have telepathic sex. But the only reason they can do this is by isolating me. I have not kissed a girl in 16 years since 2005, and that's how they set all this up. Again, this is a PSYOPs program. It's part of COINTELPRO, and it's part of the microwave weapons. So I just need to update you on that as far as what the telepathic sex is and who it's with. I bet you I've had telepathic sex with 200 people by now. It's just, again, it's escalated just like everything else is. Okay, the last thing I want to update is all the court filings I've made in the past week, and there's been several. The first is I filed a new preliminary injunction for emergency relief with the U.S. District Courts in Philadelphia. Now, I was able to file that through the email, and I've been in touch with the clerks. And the new injunction lists, again, 400 causes of actions. I call them assaults for the injunction. And I've been in touch with Kevin Eyebald, who's a supervisor for the clerk of courts, and he's assured me that this will be docketed as of December 26th. Now, I sent it down this week, I believe Sunday, but because a holiday week, they're short-staffed. So it's not going to appear probably until Monday or Tuesday, but that will be docketed. And it is a new preliminary emergency injunction for relief. Now, I'll go over what the relief is in just a minute. Okay, this is the relief that I'm requesting. One, being restored to whole back to when these injustices first began on June 23rd, 1987. Two, compensated for the $79,000 of vandalism and thefts. Three, compensated for the $2,437,970 of pro se billings. 4, provided security for all property, including all electronic data. 5, provide a federal arbitrator for all federal, state, and local claims, including antitrust and the American Disabilities Act that are still outstanding. 6, an automatic claim is described in the Havana Act of 2021. 7, absolute dismissal and exoneration of all criminal charges since 1987. Number 8, access to all public places which fabricated events and no trespass notices were filed. 9, condemnation of houses 1252, 1256, and 1242 Fremont Street as being domestic terrorists. 10, the condemnation and deed to the original property at 1470 Manheim Pike, which was his father's property, Sam Caterbone Cleaners, and all his real estate out there. 11, the condemnation and deed to 220 Stonehill Road, Conestoga, Pennsylvania. 12, the condemnation deed to 554 Berkeley Road, Stone Harbor, New Jersey. And 13, the condemnation and deed to 433 West Marion Street, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. All these properties were illegally extorted from me. Now, the other thing that's been going on is the computer hacking has been amped up. I mean, I haven't been able to update my photos from my phone for 2 or 3 days now, and it's ongoing. So that's the relief that I'm requesting in all of these filings. As of on December 27th, I filed a new amended complaint to the Duke Street case, which is CI 08-13373. Now that case has been open and active since 2008. Judge Miller of Lancaster County Court of Common Pleas is the judge. So there's a new amended complaint on there, and it's all updated with all this new information. Next is the Nicholas Cruz case. I'll finish that, and that'll be sent down next week in plenty of time for the February 21st start of the sentencing hearing. Now, in that case, I filed an application for amicus on May 2nd, 2018. Now, that's 3 months after the actual killing started, which was Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2018. Now, if you look at the interview that was done by the police down there hours after the shooting, you'll see that there's no doubt Nicholas Cruz is a victim. He discusses the voices just like I do, just like my father did in the 90s, about what they're telling him to do and what they're saying to him. So there's no doubt he is a victim of this. The other thing that's happened in this case in the past month is that first the FBI settled with all the families of all the people killed by Nicholas Cruz, millions and millions of dollars. Now the FBI settled because there were complaints to the FBI about Nicholas Cruz, but they failed to do anything. Then a couple weeks later, last week, the school district settled. So these people are settling the cases as taking some liability for Nicholas Cruz killings down in Parkland High School. Now, the problem is that back in November, Judge Scheer filed an order saying that they are limiting this case to only what they have on the record. So they're not allowing any third-party liability from anyone in his sentencing or in the criminal case. Now, back in October, I think it was, or September, Nicholas Cruz all of a sudden pled guilty. They were going to have a trial in January of this year coming up, but he pled guilty all of a sudden. But the ironic thing is that when he pled guilty, he got nothing for it. They didn't give up anything. In other words, he pled guilty, but the defense and Nicholas Cruz didn't get anything as far as from the courts. And you would expect he would have got the death penalty off the table, which they didn't. So that's the update on the Nicholas Cruz case. Now, finally, after 1 year, I got the clerk in the Third Circuit Court of Appeals in Philadelphia to send me my dockets. It took a year to get these dockets. And there's 3 cases that were filed in 21. And the first is 21-2598. It's an injunction. That's not done yet. There's also 21-2163, which is my habeas case to the second stalking charge. Now, what they did in that case is the judges denied me a certificate of appealability. So I can't appeal that to the US Supreme Court. They just stonewalled me in that case. I mean, these are dirty tricks. I mean, they don't do this normally. They're just doing it because they can't really compete with me in courts, so they have to cheat. The other thing is the bankruptcy. Now, the bankruptcy case I took to the US Supreme Court, and the US Supreme Court pulled a dirty trick last week. What they did was, first they sent me a letter in November 4th saying I have 60 days to resend my petition down to US Supreme Court for my bankruptcy case from the Third Circuit. So I did that. Now, when I got the second update, which was done perfectly, nothing wrong with it, and it included informal paupers, they said that I didn't send them a fee, like I owed them money, like they weren't going to accept the informal paupers. But when they sent the letter out on November 4th, it did not mention anything about sending the fee. Then they wanted 10 copies. Now, that's a 300-page filing. 10 copies would bank. I mean, I wouldn't have enough money. 10 copies, that's unheard of. I've never been denied informal paupers in US Supreme Court except 2 cases, against the Lancaster County Prison and against the Lancaster City Police. So they're pulling dirty tricks down there, the US Supreme Court. So that's an update on those. Now, Christmas was the 37th anniversary of my brother Sammy's murder in Santa Barbara, California, just to let you know. Now, Sammy was murdered on Christmas Day, 1984, and Sammy, I believe, was 36. Tommy died suspiciously in Kildover Hills, North Carolina in 1996. He was 32. Just going to give you an update on those 2. And of course, my father was murdered up in New York City on July 20th, 2001. There's no doubt about that. So that's an update on my brothers and my father. The Havana syndrome is front and center now. Now the US Department of State first tried to blame Russia for these microwave weapons. Now they're blaming China. So you have to keep up with the Havana syndrome. The State Department came out with questionnaires, which I filed 2 months ago, for victims from the State Department, CIA, and other places, as well as victims, domestic victims that didn't work for the government. So that's been filed. So that's pretty much an update on the state of affairs for me and my legal and business affairs. It's now 11:56 p.m. on Thursday, December 30th, 2021. And I'm broadcasting from 1250 Fremont Street, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, 17603, my home office. Thank you and have a happy new year.